Hey, it's Phoenix. Caught up with journalist Jim Pruner. He's with Web Bike World. He just came back from a crazy adventure at a 100-mile house in BC. We'll talk to him about that next. Jim Pruner, journalist with Web Bike World. You've been doing it for 3 years, I hear.
That's true.
What is Web Bike World all about for some uninitiated?
So Web Bike World is a respected, independent, and unattached, honest review site. We review all things motorcycle, from bikes themselves to helmets, gloves, pants, boots, you name it, even accessories on the bikes.
And they also send you out on trips as well too. So there's a bit of let's send you out into the wild kind of thing and send back stories.
Sometimes, I mean, those are more sort of my idea, where in order to test a product properly, I say I have to take it to where people are going to take it. So if it's uh, like a track oriented type of product, like a helmet or a glove
Right.
or a leather suit, I'm going to go ride fast on a track. And if it's adventure gear, then I'm going to go out and get it dusty, dirty, muddy, wet, everything else. Like, I want to break the product if at all possible. And yeah, that's what I set out to do on these trips.
Which of these two beauties behind you did you grab for this trip to 100 Mile House?
Well, I mean, I have ridden the Ninja on gravel before, on the Alaska Highway, but I opted for the knobby tired 790 Adventure this time. And I think that was the right choice. Definitely the right choice.
The 100 Mile House, there's a story behind it. I know that from Lillooet, I think, where you start the trail. If you head 100 miles north, you hit 100 Mile House, and there's the name. You probably knew that.
No, but I really appreciate you telling me. Places always have weird names around there. Like, if you can tell me what Lillooet means, I'd also be interested to hear. But
Really?
I
Well,
didn't
if
look
I
that
if
up
I tell
either.
you what Lillooet means, will you give me some credit in your piece?
Absolutely.
Oh, really? Okay, we'll talk later. Um, this adventure to 100 Mile House is not the first time, or is the first time you've ever been?
I've never been around that area before. I've heard lots of good things, but honestly, I think 100 Mile House, 108 Mile House, in that sort of area, it might be one of the best kept secrets for many people.
No kidding, hey?
Oh man, the terrain there, it reminds me of something you might see in Arizona, or I don't know, somewhere more arid desert type riding, Southern California, something like that, minus
Right.
the cactus and palm trees. But I mean, sagebrush and dirt, dust as far as the eye can see.
Isn't that something, hey?
Man,
When, yeah, go ahead.
no, uh, just you couldn't take a bad picture. You really couldn't.
You went with a couple of friends of yours. Now, were they familiar with the area, or you just decided to just try it out and just explore?
I have a friend named Greg Phillips, and he is just an animal when it comes to adventure riding. He's ridden the Dempster Highway, he's ridden the Dalton Highway numerous times, he's ridden BDRs all over the place. And
Mm,
basically, I just find out what he's doing and tag along. And him and his buddies up in Edmonton, Rob and David, they had gotten together and conspired to get some GPX files off of a site called GPS Kevin. And I don't know anything about all this stuff, I admit. I just
I'm just there
ride.
for the ride, man.
I trust me, I'm not the guy you want leading your expedition. I tend to get lost, and it's not a problem because that's when I usually find the coolest photos or camping spots or what have you. But these guys had it down to a science, and the GPX file that we followed on the GPS was near flawless. These
Jeez.
guys, they kept going. We were primarily off road all this time, or like gravel, dirt roads, logging roads, things like that. And yeah, we just basically followed the blue line. And there was one point where it became a problem where uh, on the trail it was mapped out wrong, and we looked at this hill that was just 2 inches deep of soft mud, and the GPS was saying, "Yep, it's up there." This was when
Hmm.
we were actually trying to go from the middle of nowhere, and we were running low on gas to get to Lillooet. And I said, I don't think that's the trail, but since I had the lightest bike and the lightest load of luggage, I decided to go up and check it out, and literally spun my tire the entire way up this muddy mess. Got to the top and found a locked gate that said no trespassing, no
Wow.
entrance.
Wow.
So I turned around, headed back, and said, "Yeah, guys, I don't think something's wrong here. I think we took a wrong turn."
Hey, but that's what adventure riding is all about. If you always knew where you were going, it wouldn't be an adventure. But on trips like this, you always experience things. I mean, did you ever have a moment where the bikes got stuck or that they may have fallen into a ditch and you needed help out or what?
Fallen into a ditch. That may have happened a couple of times,
That's
actually.
right.
There's some photos because early on, I think I was actually the first person to drop my bike. I went down. It almost looked like a boat launch, almost a natural
Mm.
one, down to a lake, and found out it was not the way to go and not good for these guys on the bigger bikes to come down to. So I whipped around, but not used to having the luggage on the bike, the extra weight up high. I kind of got in one of those stalemates, I'll call it, where you're tipped over and you're almost falling, but you've got one leg down. And being the short guy that I am, I couldn't push the bike back up
Mm.
vertical and ride away, and so I had to let it down. And we decided after that that every time somebody dropped their bike or crashed or whatever, everybody else would take photos, and I think that's the right thing to do. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
it
Well,
became a running joke.
well, that's the thing about adventure riding too. Whether you go with yourself or with a group of others, you always have to anticipate the unexpected. And I'm certain that in your piece that you're going to put together, that's what it is. Expect the unexpected, but be prepared for the unexpected.
Yeah, I didn't do so. I'm not planning to write about this one so much, but it was very instrumental in testing some gear that I'm in the middle of right now. I'm doing
Nice.
a three helmet comparison between a showy and a rye and a climb that are very popular, and everybody I see on social media is continually asking, "All right, here are these three awesome helmets. Which one is the one to buy?" And I'm really trying to get to the bottom of that. So I'm extensively testing each helmet.
You
Um,
know, that's the fun part of your job, isn't it? I mean, you're not just banging it against a tree. You're actually doing some practical applications for these items that you're testing out. That's smart, Jim.
well, it's the only way to really know what it is. Uh, and I approach it as a regular guy, not, I'm not a racer. I'm not a top level motocross rider or enduro expert or anything. I'm Johnny Average. I really am. My riding ability is very average. I'm doing sort of extraordinary things though,
Mm.
and that's what I like to share is that's the spirit of adventure riding. You don't have to be a pro, a trials rider or anything like that. You're just an accountant who has this awesome motorcycle and packs it up once in a while and disappears for 4 days, and you go where few people go, and you get the experiences that the most people don't, and the views, man, it the whole package. I don't understand why more people don't get into it. I don't know if they're scared or
Mm.
intimidated or what, but really, on pavement riding is kind of dull. When you've done this stuff,
Yeah.
you get to the point where it's all I want to do is go get dust in my face and
Love it.
set up tent at night.
Well, all we want to do is just follow you along. Webbikeworld.com is where you'll find Jim Pruner. When is this article coming out, by the way?
Well, I've got one more trip planned for this Saturday,
Okay.
and that'll be putting the Arai through its paces. And I'm going to be going up to a place called Molybdenite Peak. and it's kind of in that same area. It's southwest of Lillooet, and I was so close to doing it when I was out last time on the trip that we were discussing, but I had to get back to Calgary to do some stuff, and it's haunting me. I gotta go back there.
Don't you hate when work gets in the way of fun?
Yeah, yeah, especially when your work is fun.
Webbikeworld.com, Jim Pruner. Always a pleasure, Jim. Let's stay in touch, and I want to hear more about other adventures down the road, okay?
Thanks, Phoenix. Glad to do it.